In three words, I describe the Organic Centre: organic, education and conservation. Well, organic, obviously, because that's the main thesis of what we do is growing organically. Education, because that's probably comes right at very close second. We educate our students here to go out into the wider public and educate more and more people about organics, why it is so important to grow organically and the benefits of growing organically. And of course, conservation, then we have a lot of heritage apples here. We have 64 variety of apples. Some of these varieties aren't anywhere else in Ireland. Well, I mean, from the centre's point of view, the centre was set up around 25 years ago. The people who set up the Organic Centre understood the need for change. They picked probably the worst land in Ireland. North Leitrim is very wet. There's blue till soil, really clay. And they picked this area to prove that land can be worked. Not only could it be worked, but it could be worked organically. And then from my own point of view, I grew up in a farming background myself. I come from a farming background. As I was growing up, the old methods of farming started to die out. Farms themselves were getting bigger and bigger. So it became way more industrialized, and then with the industrialization came the chemicals, the fungicides, herbicides, pesticides, the inorganic fertilizers. Most farms weren't getting organic compost at all, or organic fertilizers. Everything was coming from an inorganic source. The land was suffering. Obviously, as it got more industrialized, you had the silage. People moved away from hay to silage. The silage pits were leaking effluent into the water sources. So all this kind of came to a head in the mid-80s. So I think all these things came together and made me realize that I wanted to do something myself. I was a bit later in life, but when I came to the Organic Centre, I found my niche. Yeah, I mean, the Organic Centre for me is organic growing within the heart of the community. And that is the most important part, bringing the community together. By growing organically, you're reducing the amount of herbicides, pesticides and fungicides that you're using. Therefore, the factory input is going to be reduced, and then the travel costs in moving them to the locations reduced as well. Then, of course, growing organically locally means that you're cutting out all travel costs. Most of the people we supply are local people, so again, you're reducing travel costs, you're reducing the emissions. Here at the Organic Centre, we like to try and use a closed growing system, so our compost is created on site, and from that, then we use that for growing. We have our own solar panels here that generate electricity. We have a well that we use for watering the plants. So when you combine all these together, it's really pushing towards reducing the carbon emissions by as much as possible. And we're looking at ways of trying to reduce them even more. Yeah, well, it became quite obvious that there was a need to reduce the amount of chemicals that was being used in food production. The Organic Centre set out to create a sustainable growing environment, or a model that could be used right across the board. I myself started in 2017. I did the level 5 QQI level 5 horticultural course, and then I was lucky enough to get employed here as a project coordinator. So I do a lot of work with schools. I run the community garden here. So the idea is that we're bringing organics into the community, so that they see the benefits of growing organically, and also understand that there is an alternative to the conventional farming methods. The main challenge was probably finance. When you start off a project like this, it takes money, and trying to get the finance behind it was quite difficult. We also faced, it was considered at the time maybe not anti-mainstream, but definitely not mainstream. Organics, working on organics was considered probably low paid, labour intensive. So trying to get people to realise that there was smart ways of growing organically and growing quite a bit of produce by doing so, it was difficult as well. In helping this centre achieve its goals, I mean, first of all, it's the people. People are probably the most important part of any organisation. The Organic Centre in the beginning especially was definitely based on volunteers and the community. Without the community, there can never be, the Organic Centre couldn't operate. So with all these different factors involved, it's helped the Organic Centre not just to grow, but to become a stalwart in the community.